Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final where QPR 2, Everton 2. QPR won 8-7 on penalties. The Blues are out of the Carabao Cup. Very, very disappointing to go out of it. I should know better. We've been garbage in this competition. In the League Cup, the Milk Cup, the Rumbelows Cup, the Littlewoods Cup, the Coca-Cola Cup, the Worthington Cup, the Carabao Cup. Any guys this trophy's being put under, we have genuinely been a bit rubbish in it. And we were last night.
Yeah. Always seem to come at the wrong time for us, these ties. They always seem to. And last night was no different. And I know, listen, there was a lot of people out there who think that Everton should have played their strongest team last night. I don't know about, well, our strongest team wouldn't have been too far off what actually did play last night because of the injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
So it always seems to come at the wrong time.
Or have we just not got a good enough squad?
No, we'll come into that. We haven't got a good enough squad.
No, well, that's what I mean. Maybe it's more
and ultimately, you're going up against a team at home who fans are behind them, and we've got very, very average players who don't play together regularly, trying to find a way of playing, and ultimately, it always seems to catch us out. You try and get through the early round, you look at other teams and the teams they put out, and it just makes you laugh. We try and do something similar, and a lot of the times it catches us out, and it's like, it's as you said, it's been something that's gone on for a very long time, and last night was again, it was a poor display, really.
2 finals in our history in this competition. That's been, I mean, one was 1977, the other one was 84.
Yeah.
And we're in 2021, and we haven't been back to a League Cup final. And we've had money put in, and we've gone out in the semis a couple of times, 3 or 4 times in that period, or whatever it is. And it no matter what happens, we do seem to be cursed in this competition. And that, I guess that is the frustration. I'd said last night after the game, and it's a pointless competition for us. And I didn't mean it's a pointless competition, there's no point going in it. I just meant it just seems to be always the same thing with us. We never seem to work our way through to a final or have a good run or whatever. But ultimately, that does come down to the level of play you've got, sadly. And what you've just said there, A, they don't play together enough. B, they're probably just not good enough. And that's the thing.
They're not good enough.
Whether it's desire, whether it's actual quality, whether it's a bit of both, whatever happens, it does. We seem to.
Do you know what? Short. I think what we've all seen as Evertonians in recently is that there is a level of different levels of players, and I think we've been massively looking in the wrong places for players. And this summer, I think we've actually gone out and got a couple of players who are probably the right profile for us, and Josh Townsend and Damari Gray for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Townsend last night, without jumping ahead, proved what kind of player Everton need to have at the football club. The profile of the club and the players we bring in, we dramatically tried to change too quickly. And when I say that, I don't even mean good players. I just mean their attitudes and where they want to go and where they are in their career. And I think that shows when you're watching games like that. There's far too many players who are not good enough and have not been chased quick enough out the club. John Joe Kenny should not be anywhere near an Everton team. And that's not against him, but he's not good enough. And yet he was still sitting here. He's been on 2 loan moves. He's in his last year of his deal. He shouldn't be anywhere near the club because he's not good enough, but he also just doesn't have that fight. He's been worn down because he was a big thing. He was a hot prospect 3 years ago.
4.
Yeah, and now he's not. So now he's almost like he's biding time to see what his next thing is. Probably knows the club don't want him. And there's other players like that. Tom Davies is in a similar boat. He's probably lost that little bit of something he had to the point now where he's hit that period in his career where he probably, there's no probably about it. He needs to leave Everton if he's going to have a decent football career. So he's lost that spark you get when you bring young lads into the team.
Yeah.
And there's a few of them, and it's when you add that to people like Mason Holgate, who I think's another one who's lost. He's lost in his career. And it was just a bad mix last night. It just shows you how really poor Everton squad is, like really poor.
Well, you know, we went with you were mentioning there people saying Everton should have played the strongest team, whatever. He went with Begovic in goal. We had John Joe Kenny at right back. You're looking at him and think, well, you've got a point to prove, lad. So this is it. Come in and prove it. Didn't happen. You had Holgate and Godfrey as a pair, which I literally think is the worst pair we've got to put together. And that's based on evidence of what's gone before. Well, you look at them and go, these should work. One was a good defender, like good on the ball and battling. The other one's
which one's the good
defender?
defender?
I said was. He's at the moment, like you said, I think he's absolutely lost. A year and a bit ago, we were talking about Mason Holgate being like the main defender because he'd had a great season, a really good season. Looked like he'd finally settled. The wheels have come off. Injured start of last season and has never got any kind of form to the point now where, like you just said, he looks lost. Ben Godfrey has come back from had a fantastic first season at Everton. Is this second season syndrome? I wouldn't say that, but has obviously had a interrupted start of this season. COVID, and is not recovered yet, and is all over the gaff, like literally massively. All over the place at the moment. In fact, Muck the most comfortable last night when he went to left back for the last 15 minutes. And then we had Luca Digne at left back, which I cannot for the life of me understand. I know people wanted Everton's best team, but I would have played Jarrett Brantwaite at left back because I know that him playing, he'd give Everton. He wouldn't have offered you the same as Luca Digne, and Digne went on to score in the game, so that maybe was justified. But I would have gone with that without Luca Digne because he's so specialised to what we have. But then he isn't playing well, and maybe the manager wanted him to get his form going. In midfield, you had Davies and Gomez, who I would have chosen for this because I thought they both had a big point to prove. Iwobi's in there. You've got Anthony Gordon, who I actually think was one or two players who actually showed up last night for us. Townsend, who you've mentioned and we'll talk about later, but no problem with him. Rondon was one I was concerned about, but we've literally no other options just because Ellis Sims isn't at the level yet. But my plan for Rondon would have been an hour and off and then Sims on. Didn't quite work like that. So that team that went out should have been good enough if they all threw everything at it. But some of them just went through the motions. You know, we were playing a QPR team fired up, even though it wasn't their full strength team.
Yeah.
You've got Charlie Austin up front, who's been around the block. I personally would have had Michael Keane in there because I don't understand why you're resting him. Because Mina for me it should be with Godfrey as the main two, but whatever. But we allowed Austin to move us up. I mean, he can't run.
No. So
we shouldn't have been worried about him running. So all we had to do was stand on him. Like, you're not really going to do anything. We didn't. Playing under the worst floodlights I've seen, it was dark. But their fans were excellent and backed them and all that. It was going to be tricky, and we just never quite got up to their level. Don't get me wrong, I have seen worse Everton performances, like horrific. But it was flat. It was just like a training game, it felt like to me, watching it. There was no, apart from Andros Townsend and Anthony Gordon, there was no one looking like they wanted to stamp anything. It felt like a distraction from you know, and this is the problem. You know, people can criticise the manager and say you should be putting your best team out, but how can he put his best team out when... Well, who was the best? It would have been Mina, and it would have been Alan and Godfrey, Alan Decore.
I mean, literally, the team he picked is the team I picked, apart from I had Brantwaite in, and I had 3 at the back instead of Dean. So that's the way I looked at it.
I'd have had Brantwaite instead of Dean.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I did.
But I'd have had 4 at the back. But
and I think saying you should play your best team lets people get away with performances when people say about why we don't ever do well in this cup, and I always say, well, it's always around this stage where we're always wobbly. Can I just say though, before you carry on, we've got to the quarter-final in the last 2 seasons. So we've took it seriously. The minute we've come up against someone decent, they've knocked us out. Yeah. Oh no.
So,
It's just that in the past,
Yeah.
it's always.
But in the past, I understand
It's
because
always
we have
been.
changed
It's
it
always
and it's
been.
gone out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been around this time,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and surely people have got to look at the players and say, why aren't their attitudes? Why aren't these players? Like I looked at last night saying, Andy Gordon has played in the Championship on loan. John Joe Kenny has played in Germany and Scotland, and he's played the equivalent.
Played for Wigan as well.
Brantwaite had played at Blackburn. So I was looking at that going.
Yeah.
So these players can play against them. Everyone else is like a Premier League player.
Begovic was a champion.
Yeah.
Championship.
So I was looking at it like that, and if you can't get players up, if they can't get themselves up for it, the manager's putting you in there. And this is your chance, because if you get knocked out, you're probably not going to have too many more chances this season. They've done themselves absolutely no favours just because, and it's not even like, it's not like a lack, it's not this thing of like, it's not like a lack of effort. It's a lack of just desire. Like, and again, it's how do you quantify that? It's just that you watch them play and you just look and go, well, these want this more than us. And unfortunately, we've got a lot of players in our squad who just go through the motions, and it's not. Again, don't misinterpret this. This is not like a thing where people go. You would say, oh, they don't want to be here. It's just that inner desire of a lot of our players. It's just really not there. And when I look at someone like Digne and Townsend, I look at him and think, you do have that. You do have something to prove at this football club. The Mari Gray so far, you do have that. But I look at so many of our other players and I just think, you don't have that. And I don't know whether the younger players don't have it because it's not passed on to them by other players, and you've got to have this. I remember, like, it sounds like stupid because I know we didn't win anything, but like when you had the likes of Osman and Hibbert at the club, and they used to always say, we'd make sure, and the kit men would always make sure that when people come to our club, they understood what it meant and all this kind of thing. I just think a lot of that's gone now out of our club.
I think Coleman does that.
No, I know, but I feel like a lot of that's gone, and it's. For a while, a lot of people have just come into our club and it's just been like,
See, I agree with that culture. The culture of like, listen, you work hard here. This is the football club we are. We're not a Champions League club and it's glitz and glamour. I think we try to be that without actually being there, and that's sent us in a different direction. And there's no doubt chopping and changing managers every year hasn't helped, and it's created a Frankenstein squad. We've said before, it shouldn't have done, because the director of football model, not just blaming Marcel Brands, but I'm saying that director of football model was supposed to be in place to help control that dynamic so it didn't go that way. But it has been, and it's been because 3 different people have bought players as well as the managers. And we are where we are now, where you look at that squad, you look at that team last night, and you go, like you just said, John Joe Kenny, 7-8 months left on the deal, knows he's not staying at Everton. Has the desire gone? Has the confidence just gone from him so he doesn't do what he was good at? Mason Holgate, looks lost.
He does look lost.
Not having a go. Godfrey is just feeling his way back in. He'll come good, no doubts about that. And then you're into midfield, Tom Davies and Gomez. We done a preview and I said to you, the option for these players now to really take their chance and go to the manager, I deserve a go here. I said on my match reaction last night, not one of them, whoever played last night, apart from Townsend and Gordon, not one of them can knock on his door and go, why aren't I playing? Yeah. Why aren't I getting a go? Not one of them, because they come in and just the game. Gomez and Davies, whether people rate them or they don't rate them, right? They're at a Premier League football club. Andre Gomez has played 30-odd times for his country. He should have been able to dictate that game last night.
Easily.
Davies should have been able to stroll around with ease, dictate the game, get it, Gomez keeping hold of it, one way then the other. Okay, the referee allowed them to get stuck into him, but he's a footballer. He's an international footballer. Iwobi should have been able to cut through them like they weren't there. This is an international player playing in the position he tells us he wants to play in.
It's putting in that little bit of extra effort. It's about getting that first 5 yards when the ball drops and it's in the middle. It's about getting there first and then going, well, now I can impose my skill on the game. And those players don't seem to do that, the players we have. And listen, I'm not sitting here ranting and raving for a reason. This is not something that has just suddenly sprung up and slapped me in the face. We've known about this. I just think it's I just think like games like that are so. You fundamentally see where you are as a squad, and I think for some people it really worries them, because let's be honest. A couple of years ago, we were sitting round and saw like maybe where it was like Marcel Brands had to cut 30, we had a 38-man squad, and we had to start cutting it, and we have cut it down, and he has done that. The problem is that we're left with no real balance in the squad, and there's a real lack of character, and then there's other things like where are the young players? Where are the young? Like, it's so. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And again, I'm not like going, oh, is this problem? It's not a new problem, but it just shines a light when you go, where's the young? Like Liverpool playing all kinds of young players and are saying, oh, we're dead excited about all these amazing players we've got coming through. City, and it's like, what happened to our club? What happened to the club that every year had a couple knocking on the door because they had to, because we were skint and because we had to play these players? What happened to our club? How did it just turn into this passive mess?
Because we decided that winning a trophy at a reserve level, if it didn't call it a reserve level, became the priority, giving the under-23s a budget, and letting them buy players so they could win a trophy rather than buying a player because you thought he was going to get into our first team. Everton under-23s have bought players that anyone could have told you had no chance of getting in our first team, because there's a specific profile for Premier League footballers.
Yeah.
And some players we've bought don't suit that. I'm talking kids here.
No, I know.
Don't fit that profile in any way, shape or form. And that's been one issue. The other thing as well is obviously the injuries have racked up. You know, if Everton would have had generally a healthy squad, there'd have been changes, but the level would have been a bit higher maybe. Maybe, whether we like it or not, Delph being in there might have made a difference. Maybe Jean-Philippe Cabano.
Yeah, but Delph is he is like part of that though, isn't he? No, you can say that when people go, well, Delph might have been fit, but he's never fit. And why is he never fit? Because
it was the wrongest.
Because he's a bad apple. He's clearly a bad apple, and it's again, that's part of the thing, isn't it? It's like you're bringing players in.
But we would have, if everyone would have been healthy, like Richarlison, I'm sure probably would have played. And he'd have made a big difference. He'd have took the chances. Don't forget, we've got nothing in up front, have we? We got Salomon Rondon, who's played, started 2 games since May, and it's September, nearly the end of September. So he's not fit. You can tell he's not fit. And last night he was very passive, because to me he just looked like a player that wanted to get minutes in without putting everything into it, because he knows we've got a game on Saturday. And it was probably a game in his mind. He thought, it is what it is. I'm not saying he didn't try, but with some players, like I think if you watch him on Saturday, you'll see more effort on Saturday.
You know what was funny? When he got took off, I asked Andy how many touches he'd had in the game, and the reply I got back was more than Tom Davies. I just thought, oh my God.
You see, but that was the thing. But I mean, let's actually, we're here for the game. We can do this again in a bit. But, QPR took the lead, and Everton had the chance with Anthony Gordon, and when it left his foot, I actually thought it was in, because he hit it really well, and the keeper made a good save. When I see it again, it's right at the keeper, but it's still a good strong arm, and I thought that's a decent little start there. Godfrey it was, I think. But
there was loads of room down our right.
Down, cut it back lovely, and he took a touch in it. And that was a positive start, and then they just cut through us for the first goal. And the worst thing about the first goal was the run the lad makes. He kind of runs in behind Godfrey and just is able to get the ball. We were just allowing him touches. The cross comes in. I don't know what the keeper's doing.
No, I don't.
For the cross. He pushes it just up into the air. He doesn't go with it. He doesn't try to catch it. He doesn't try to get it out. He just throws an arm at it.
He's making a save when it's going.
But it's going across the goal. And Luca Dean's, I know there's a lad there, but that's up to Dean. And goes up in the air. We don't react. He doesn't. It's Anthony Gordon actually tries to clear it off the line. It's tracked back, and it's already in, but he hooks it into the roof of the net. And it's okay. We've given them a soft goal. Can we get back in it? Iwobi then breaks through. Has got 2 men with him. Can square it for 1-1. Takes it himself, and doesn't. There's a big goal to aim at. Just hits it straight at the player. And at that stage, you start thinking, is this that night? You know, that we've seen so many times before. But then, lo and behold, a couple of minutes later, we're level, and it's Andros Townsend, who was our bright spark, puts a fantastic ball over the top, and Luca Dean finishes it, and it's back of the net. And Dean, hopefully hopefully he's not injured, but hopefully that's a little bit of confidence for Luca Dean as well, because he finished it well.
Yeah, it was a good goal. And
with VAR, I think it might have been tight, but there's no VAR.
No, but the lines wouldn't see it anyway. With the
ground
was so dark. Looked like a nightclub or something. No, it was a good goal, and again we got us back into the game, and again it's how you react, isn't it?
Did you think at that stage, like we've levelled it now? We can go
we've had
on.
our warning now. They were very busy in midfield. You know, the first goal, Tom Davies gets megged on the wire and then runs into all that space because Tom's left it. And then the second goal is just a big one. Again, funny enough, we were getting joy down the right, and they were getting joy on the same side. And Mason Holgate gets dragged out, and he never gets himself back in. He stays in there, and he just. To be honest, I was watching it happen, and I seen Charlie Osman standing in between Dean and Godfrey, and it's a good ball, but Godfrey, like, you've got to be touch tight. You've got to be, and it doesn't. It's people saying, "Oh, he bullied him." He didn't bully him. He didn't mark him. Like, you've got to be touch tight when that ball comes in. Doesn't matter how tall you are. If he finds a space in behind and the ball comes to him, then he's got a header. And Godfrey's got to be touch tight, and that's, you know, you said before, Michael Keane would deal with that. Yeah, whether you think he's a good defender or not, he deals with that. He made sure he gets something on there, and he does.
Godfrey, when you watch where he heads it, Godfrey's in front of him, and he's the striker. So he's like on the half turn.
Godfrey looks at him twice beforehand. He gives him a look and sees that he's not with him, but thinks it's that's
like 3
okay.
or 4 yards away
and
from
that's not okay.
No. If he's with him, marking him, and he's right next to him, he's at least putting Charlie Austin off.
The problem is there as well, as though, because Mason Holgate's gone out, and no one takes control of the situation. So even when a ball,
Dean's marking,
someone there should be like, let's start moving them up. Or the keeper. See, this is where I think the keepers. I've said this for the last few days. When things come into the box, the keeper doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to know.
And he's 6'5".
He doesn't want to.
Like,
did you see their keeper came and took one on the edge of the box? We put a ball in, he could. Begovic, whether it's like his knees or something, I don't know. But he doesn't want to get involved off his line. He's someone who doesn't come off his line very much. The old Tim Howard did the same in his later stages. But someone should be saying, just start moving out. Get him offside, get out. But we're not, because we're all over the place, because there's no real leader in there, there's no one commanding it. Said that on Saturday about Godfrey. Seamus Coleman's playing right back for that third goal. He's dragging someone over. He's dragging someone over to get over to him. There's none of that at the moment. You see that in these games, you know, and it's a poor goal.
We don't stop the cross either, do we? No. We allowed the cross to come in, and Austin heads it in, and 2-1. But then again, you know, you go in at half time and you come back out, and you know, Andre Gomez takes a miss-hit corner, which they were delighted, and it ends up, Holgate gets a good flick, actually, it's saved, and it breaks to Townsend, he finishes it well, it's 2-2, and it's like, now, wake up, Everton. And I suppose we did. You know, we we had chances, but should have had a Stonewall penalty on the Corey as well. I mean, what the referees think is beyond me. It's a tackle from behind in the box. It's a penalty, you know, and we might have, 3-2, we'd have probably gone on and won the game. But, you know, the manager's made changes. He brought the Rondon off because he was very ineffective. The Corey's come on. He's stuck. You know, Damari Gray's come on. Andre Gomez has gone off. It's just like nothing really changed. Like, the Corey got on the ball more than the other two. I was trying to make someone in our half, and then they end up getting a shot away from it. We just didn't have any kind of flow,
we had to hit them for about the first 10 or 15 minutes after we scored. They were gone. They didn't have another chance all night, I don't think.
No.
And they were gone. Yeah. They were waiting for the inevitable, and it never came because we didn't have a striker on the pitch. We didn't have a shape, and we never really pressed for it. We never put a lot of balls into the box. We had it and we had control, but we never did anything with it. And again, that comes down to who your options are and
not cheating either.
Not shooting, no, not getting one off and just seeing if it takes a little deflection or anything. And the game just petered out, basically. It just petered out. It was like...
Michael Keane had a great... He come on.
He did.
I mean, I was thinking he'd bring Sims on for the last 15 just to win it. And because he was striking. And obviously, Luca Dean got injured and Michael Keane had to come on. And after that, they definitely didn't get anything. Charlie Austin had no joy because Keane dealt with everything. Godfrey went to left back, so there was no option. You know, they weren't doing anything there. But we had that corner straight from Keane running on, and he had the header. You watch it again, he probably should score there. He runs in, he heads it with almost the side of his head, and it flies over. On another day, that hits him and goes in. It is what it is. But after that, we didn't really. We had breakaways, and it was like we can nick it here.
Gordon had a great one. He was in, and his first touch was horrific, and he pushed them wide. And if he got a good first touch, he was in. Yeah. He was in. If
he takes it on the diagonal, he's running into goal, and he's either got a little side foot square or he can curl it. He didn't. He took it that way and ended up putting it across, and they cleared it. We just couldn't really fashion anything. We had a couple where we knocked it into the box and got it back, and we just didn't fashion anything. And it goes to penalties, and then it's a lottery, then, isn't it? You know that anything can happen with penalties.
Well, the thing with what I've noticed recently is penalties, shootouts have become a lot better. Players are technically getting better at taking penalties. Bit of practice. And to be fair, you know, up to Godfrey's, they were all great. Godfrey misses his first one, but obviously he was off his line. Gets the second one, and then Tom Davies steps up, and there's no power on it. It's placed well, but there's no power on it. Gives the keeper a big chance, and the keeper saves it, you know, and they get theirs. I mean...
Disappointed with the goalkeeper.
Oh, he's horrendous.
He got his hand to 2, and I think if you're getting your hand to it, you've got one, especially the one where he dives. I think it might have been to win it. Yeah. So we'd scored all that, and the first 7, we took them in. If he saves it, it's over, and he gets a hand to it, and it goes like that and loops behind him back into the net. I don't even know how he's managed it. But he was like that. I was saying to my dad, he's got no spring.
No, just stay big.
He's just like diving.
Yeah,
and it's like that. And so, if you've got a good keepers who save pens, especially those ones where it's at a good height, the spring keeps them there. Like the Hayes one the other day for West Ham, he gets the spring from Nobles and he's able to push it. Pickford's done it. For us, it's that spring off the spot, and Begovic didn't. I'm not blaming him because ultimately it's down to your strikers, isn't it? It's frustrating, and it is what it is.
Interesting that Iwobi didn't take a penalty.
It's only you said it before. I was thinking, oh my God, yeah, he's an attacking player. Keane's penalty was superb. Holgate's was really good. Godfrey's second
They were all good.
It was good pens. Tom Davies
theirs were all good, those
well. But theirs were good. They hit some cracking ones.
And that's the way it goes, isn't it? I mean, ultimately it's a draw, and we get beat on pens, and that's it. You're out, and then, you know... Can you take anything out of that game? I thought Andy Gordon did okay. Let's just have a look at his numbers.
There you go. Minutes played, 90, 45 touches. Passing accuracy, 85%. That's quite good. 4 key passes, and he had 1 shot on target from 2 shots. I thought he worked his socks off last night, and I thought he looked a little bit stronger. If he keeps that up, he's a direct runner, Anthony Gordon. I think his penalty was good, actually. I think the one thing he needs is a goal. I really do. I think if he gets a goal, it's that thing. I think he's in that position at the moment where he probably doesn't quite feel like a first team squad player. So you're trying to almost prove to yourself you can do it at that level. If he gets a goal, I think it'll give him the confidence. I can score in this first team. It helps you. It happens with some players. They have a tap in and they're up and running. But I thought he was a lot better last night.
No, I did. I thought that was one of the things I said before the game was, you've played in the Championship, go and prove you can play in the Championship again. And he did. And it's not a Premier League game, so it's different. But it's confidence. It's about having that confidence come off the bench and do something. You know, we seen it on Saturday. He came on and he's come on in games. He's been really ineffective. He's got to start having that confidence to say, well, what can I do with my attributes? Which is, you work hard, and you've got a bit of pace. So you've got to start using those attributes and not get involved in physical battles and make sure you know how to get ahead in front of people before they can get, you know, into a battle with you, which you're not going to win. And I think that's important. That's important. So he was a bonus last night. And as I said, Townsend I thought was great. I really like his attitude.
I gave him man of the match.
I did, yeah. I apologise if I ever slagged you off in the past.
No, but I think his attitude... You haven't slagged him off since you come to Everton.
No, not at all.
It was years ago. But his attitude... But I think he probably said it himself.
His attitude...
Daniel Levy said it about him.
His attitude is amazing. You know, you can see that he's on the... You can see that he takes everything seriously. He's a professional. He takes everything seriously. And he understands that.
I think he's had to grow up.
This is because he came from Palace, maybe. And this is the thing about bringing in players who are grateful for the chance. And unfortunately, at Everton, we have I think it is that. You know, we talked about Delph before. It's that idea of dropping down from a Man City, and at the time, you're thinking, oh well, this is a good move. It's got experience, blah blah blah. But when they actually turn up and they're like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and I can't be asked.
Yeah, they're snidling, didn't we?
Yeah, and he's like, no, this is a huge opportunity in my career. I could have ended up going to God knows where. But
do you think we've missed a trick by not getting a couple of Championship players as well, just for squad players? I mean, so
absolutely.
I think the problem with that Everton have had, and it probably be like this for a lot of clubs, to be honest, is that when we've made these changes and 5 or 6 of them come in, the quality's not there. The quality isn't there, and therefore we aren't Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, where you can change 9 players and the quality still looks like it's there. But for Everton, we're just missing a few of those characters, aren't we?
I think the biggest problem in the summer was and it's funny because the flip side is Gray and Townsend. The flip side of this is that in the summer we were holding out for a right back, a top class right back. That never materialised because it needed to be a domino effect, and it never happened.
It never happened, yeah.
Whereas what we probably should have done is done what we did with Townsend and Gray and said, we don't expect to go out and buy a big winger this season, so we're going to bring in these 2 lads for less than £2 million, because that's we're cutting our cloth accordingly. And I think that's where we missed the trick this summer, by going and saying, you know what, go and find me a right back who's better than John Joe Kenny, that could probably break into the side, and there's no big outlay. Maybe it's a free transfer, maybe it's someone on loan, and I think that's what we missed the trick, because we knew we needed a right back, and I think on the 1st of July we should have just been like, that's your right back. Okay, if we sell Moise Keane and we can get him, then we do that as well. This person might be only here for a year or whatever, but I think that's what we missed. We should have just looked at it this season, like you're saying. Then it's gone, you know what, we're gonna go out and get 3 or 4 really, really good, hard-working, free transfers, people who are on the up or see Everton as a massive step up, and just bolster that squad out. And I think when you look at that game last night, you can. I mean, Saturday, there's a possibility Saturday we're playing 4 centre-backs as our defence.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that shows you where we are.
And to be honest, that's what I'd go with that at the minute. If Dean's out, I would. I'd go Holgate.
No, well, that's what it will be. It'll have to be.
It's got to be, yeah. Rather than John Joe, I'd have Holgate.
No choice.
And even though Holgate's all over the gaff, but I'd rather see him there. But it is so. It's disappointing. It's not surprising because it's happened so many times before. But it is disappointing, and it is a. I don't think it's a wake-up call. Cause I think a lot of people
thought last night,
anyway. But
last night for some people was like, for me, was like last chance saloon for a few of them. And you know, I think for John Joe Kenny, Tom Davies, I think the days are absolutely numbered now.
They've got to be now. Got to be.
And
I even think the likes of Gomez and people like
that. Again, Gomez I think's been okay coming off the bench this season. But I think putting him in there and not having legs around him, you just can't do that. And I think the manager's seen that, and that won't happen again, because
I think he hasn't got enough desire. I don't think.
No, but you can see that him and Iwobi's exactly the same. There's when it comes to the crunch, when it comes to the can you out battle someone, the answer is no. And there's far too many of them at Everton, far too many. And that's what we've, unfortunately, we've amassed a squad full of them.
There's a bigger topic there than.
Of course,
than that. And this isn't a a knee-jerk reaction
No,
to
no,
go
no,
on
I mean...
the Carabao Cup. It is
No.
what it is, and we've got to move on. And this might be a season of just battling and scrapping for every Premier League point and seeing how high we can get. Because I do believe that when everyone's fit, Everton have got a side as good as anything below, when everyone's fit in that team, as below fifth maybe. But can we keep everyone fit? Once you start knocking 3 and 4 and 5 out of this team, then that's when I agree with people. It goes from being a team that could maybe get into the Conference League, Europa Conf, to being a team that is battling to stay in the top half, maybe a bit lower, because the drop-off's so big with 4 or 5 go out. And a lot of teams would be affected by that as well, but it's us and it's happening at the moment. So
It is. Let's just look at, we were talking about Townsend, let's just look at Townsend numbers.
Man of the match, let's have a look at him. 90 minutes played, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 key passes, big chance created, 1. Obviously came up with the assist and the goal, worked his socks off, had a real desire.
Not afraid to roll up his sleeves in a game like that.
No.
And that's the measure.
And he's been excellent. For nothing, he's been absolute, and showed up people who've cost us a hell of a lot of money.
Exactly.
He showed them up. 2 I can think of right off the top of my head. So, what can you do? He was good. Let's have a look at the stats overall, please, Ned. So, Everton 17 attempts at goal, QPR 11, 4 on target, QPR 6 for Everton, 1 big chance for QPR, 5 for Everton. But QPR had 61% possession.
Sweet spot.
544 key passes from the completed passes, 346 for Everton. See, I don't, even though people have looked at that, and I know that's upset Ned, the fact that they had over 60% possession, I just think it was the way we were always going to play on the counter-attack, just the way we play. And it proved it there with 5 big chances. The XG was 5-1, I think, to Everton. And it's ended 2-2. So that's something for them to work at. Again, not enough goals in this squad, and that's nothing new, so there's no point going on about it. So there you go. What can you do? Everton are out of the Carabao Cup. Disappointing, but we've got Norwich on Saturday, and it's all eyes have got to be on that one now. Try and get some momentum back, because the last 2 results haven't gone the way we wanted. So we'll have to see what side we can patch up and put out at the weekend. So let us know what you think in the comment section below. No knee-jerk stuff, because I think we all knew that this wasn't far away anyway. So let us know. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. If you want live videos, daily live videos, this is carrying on Patreon. Then become a patron and you can get your points in as well. Otherwise, we will see you later. Take it easy.